Definition of corporation. A corporation is an artificial being created by operation of law, having the right of succession and the power, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidental to its existence. A corporation is not a natural person like us, but an artificial person created by law. It exists independently of its owners and continues even if the members change. Unlike a sole proprietorship or partnership, a corporation has its own rights and responsibilities as if it were a separate individual under the law. For example, Jollibee or SM are corporations. They exist regardless of who the owners are at a given time.
We have three attributes of a corporation. First, a corporation is an artificial being created by law. It is a legal entity created through registration or incorporation. A corporation only exists because the law allows it through incorporation. For example, Jollibee exists as a corporation because it was registered with the Security and Exchange Commission. Second, a corporation has the right of succession. It continues to exist regardless of changes in ownership or leadership. The corporation, even if shareholders or members pass away or even sell their shares or leave, the corporation will still exist. For example, if an owner of ABC company pass away, the company does not dissolve, it continues to operate. And third, a corporation has the power, attributes, and properties conferred by law. A corporation can only act within the legal authority given by law and its charter. This includes owning and selling property. Second, borrowing money or issuing shares or entering into contracts and even suing and being sued. For example, a school corporation can acquire land for its campus because the law gives it that power. Meaning, a corporation is like an artificial entity created by law. Unlike us, it never dies because it has the right of succession, and it can do many things like own property, sign contracts, borrow money, or even go to court, but only because the law gives it those powers.
Classes of corporations: stock versus non-stock. Stock corporations issue shares and distribute profits to shareholders. A corporation with capital stock divided into shares and authorized to distribute dividends or profits to each shareholders. Example: Jollibee Foods Corporation or JFC sells food products. Profits are shared as dividends to stockholders. Non-stock corporations do not issue shares, often for charitable, educational, or religious purposes. A corporation without capital stock, it does not issue shares and does not distribute profits. Usually organized for charitable, religious, educational, cultural, or social welfare purposes. Only income is used only to support its goals. Example: universities or foundations like Ateneo de Manila University or non-stock, non-profit educational institutions. The main difference is that stock corporations exist to make profit for shareholders, while non-stock corporations exist to serve a purpose without giving income to members.
Good day, everyone. My topic for today is what is the difference between the domestic and foreign corporation. The domestic corporation is an incorporated in the Philippines that is under Philippine laws and registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. For example, the SM Investment Corporation is created and registered in the Philippines. The domestic corporation is one that is created under the Philippine laws like SM or Globe. And a foreign corporation, on the other hand, is created in another country but does business in the Philippines, like Coca-Cola and Toyota. The foreign corporation is created under laws of another country but doing business here. That is formed or incorporated under the laws of another country but may operate in the Philippines if authorized by the SEC. For example, the Coca-Cola Philippines is owned by the Coca-Cola Company in USA but allowed to do business in locally.
Classes of corporations. There are two classes of corporation. One is closed corporation and second is one-person corporation. Closed corporation is few shareholders, not publicly treated, often family run. A closed corporation is a type of corporation with a small number of shareholders, usually not more than 20. It does not sell shares to the public and is often owned by family members or close friends. The shareholders usually manage the business directly without needing a board of directors. For example, Celiona Family Corporation. Suppose a family start a food manufacturer business and register it as a corporation. The shares are divided among the family members only. They do not sell shares to outsider or the public. A one-person corporation is one person owns and controls the corporation. A one-person corporation is a corporation with only one stockholders who also act as the sole director and president. This is allowed under the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines 2019. It's like a single proprietorship but with the benefits of a corporation such as liability. For example, Chilaris Elizabeth Ciliona. If you want to start a consultancy business alone, you can register it as an one-person corporation. You are the only owner and your personal assets are separate from your business liabilities.
Incorporation and Organization. Article of Incorporation by Laws. It is the legal process of forming or creating a corporation. Filing the Articles of Incorporation to SEC, Security and Exchange Commission. Adopting bylaws, which are the internal rules on how the corporation will operate. Example of this is the newly registered school corporation adopt bylaws specify how often board meetings will be and how officers will be elected. Corporate terms. Under the revised corporate code, the default is perpetual existence unless articles of incorporation state specific terms. Example, if a corporation states 50 years in articles, it exists 50 years unless renewed. Otherwise, it has a perpetual life. Incorporation is the process of creating a corporation by filing articles of incorporation which serves as its birth certificate.
So today, I will discuss to you the doctrine of separate juridical personality means a corporation is treated as a person under the law. It is separate from its owners. So if a corporation has debts, only the corporation's properties are liable, not the personal properties of the shareholders. Like for example, if a corporation goes bankrupt, the shareholders lose only what they invested. Their personal properties like house or cars, savings are protected. So, in another examples about the case study of Francisco Motors and CA, it has debts and financial obligations. Creditors try to hold the owners or stockholders' personal liability for the corporation's debt. The issue is, can the personal properties of the owners be used to pay a corporation debts? The Supreme Court answers no. Why? Because corporations has a separate juridical personality from its stockholders. The debts and obligation of the corporations belong to the corporations alone, not to the individual shareholders. That's all. Thank you. Like your favorite drink.